Hello, DePauw sports fans, and welcome back to D3 TV's Tiger Sports Nation. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Peter Nicieja, here with John Halloran, and we are excited to bring you the latest in DePauw's athletics. Tonight, we'll be recapping the highlight of the past week in DePauw sports and what to look forward to this coming week. We also have special interviews with basketball player Cliare Keefe, swimmer Victor Alfonso, and softball's head coach.
Thanks, Peter. Let's start in congratulating the men's basketball team for a great season. The men fell to Worcester on Tuesday, ending their season with a record of 11-15. Shout out to their 6 seniors, Chris Burrow, James Clark, Mason Hankins, Forrest Nettles, David Vogel, and Jack Vandermerk for all their great efforts these past 4 years. The DePauw men's basketball team recapped their season in the tweet right after the game. As tough as it is to see an incredibly fun and together season come to an end, the entire team, especially our seniors, walk away from tonight's tournament game at Worcester knowing that we left them completely out there. Very special effort from a very special guys.
Good work this season, guys. Now taking a look at the women's basketball team, the Lady Tigers are heading into their semifinals after their win against Allegheny with an impressive score of 90-48. Way to go, Tigers. They take on Wittenberg at home tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Hope to see you all there. Stay tuned for our special segment called The Shoutout, where we interview freshman player Cliare Keefe.
DePauw's swimming and diving team traveled to Denison this past weekend for their NCAA Siege Conference Championship. The ladies finished up in the tournament with three top six finishes. The men totaled 1,155 points and finished third after an exciting last relay. Our Tigers were 1 point behind Wabash, but ended up prevailing in that last relay. Our senior diver, Eric Addy, ended up getting third on both boards. Congrats on such a successful 4 years, Eric. Freshman diver Catherine Douglas got 6th place on the meter board. We have a special interview with sophomore swimmer Victor Alfonso.
I'm here with a sophomore swimmer, Victor Alfonso. Victor, how are you doing today?
Great, how about you?
I'm doing pretty good. So here at TSN, we wanted to highlight you and so far swimming. And so how did the year go for you?
The year went really well. We went on and off throughout meets, but by the end of the season, conference was just probably the most spectacular meet I'll ever have, and anyone on the team will probably ever see. So it was a great ending.
Oh, why was that?
So we were 3 points behind Wabash going into the 4th relay, and that was the last relay. And in order for us to win, we'd have to beat them, and then another team would have to beat them too. And the chances were very unlikely. So we were all just kind of going into it we're gonna lose. I want to win, but it's not that likely. And then the 4th relay came out, and we were cheering as hard as we could, and it was just crazy race. We ended up getting 3rd, and then Worcester got 5th, and then Wabash got 6th, or 4th, and then Wabash got 5th. And it was an awesome ending, especially to see all those guys just
It's always good to be Wabash.
Yes, always great.
Yeah, always good. You said you've been swimming for basically your whole life. How long have you been swimming for, and is it always just been your passion, or?
Yeah. So I've been swimming since I was 5, and I've been on and off throughout, just trying different sports throughout the years. And I've always come back to it just because it was something that I liked, and that I liked competing and racing, and frankly that I was good enough to do. So I always came back to it, and it's a great workout, so I like it.
What other sports did you play in either middle school or high school?
Tried 7th grade football. Middle linebacker, wasn't that good. I tried some other ones, but I really stuck with swimming, and I did water polo too.
So a question for me, this is personally, so swimming, do they make you shave your whole body? Because one of my friends swam in high school, shout out Eric Jones if you're watching this, and he always had to shave everything in his body. I used to make fun of him having to shave his arms and legs and everything, and he would grow back and he'd get really itchy, so I didn't know, how annoying is that?
So yeah, we only shave down for big meets. So we have a mid-season meet we shave down for, and then conference, and then if you go to nationals, that too. And it's really weird because I like the hair on my body, and then I just feel like a little baby, but that's part of it. And you feel fast when you're in the water, so it's kind of worth it.
That's kind of cool. During the summer, during Shark Week, there was. By the way, are you a big Shark Week guy?
I dabble.
Yeah. All right, cool. I'm a big Shark Week guy. So there was the Michael Phelps versus the Shark that was really anticipated, and then it was just a hologram. So I have a question: who would win, you or a shark in a race?
Oof.
And you could pick the shark too.
I mean, realistically, probably the shark. But if I was trying to stay alive, I'd try my best, and I think I can maybe pull out a win.
For everyone out there, if you hit a shark in the face, in the nose, it'll swim the other way. So if you're ever caught in that situation, it's fun fact. All fun facts here at TSN. So meets kind of seem like they're they're obviously long, so you have a bunch of events going on. What do you do to in between events for yourself, or just to like keep the time going, pass the time away?
I try to do just some like on deck stuff, just kind of do some like light stretches, roll out, listen to music, walk around, just try and stay loose and stay warm too. Just keep my mind off it, and then once I get up there, I'm ready.
What's your favorite and least favorite part of a swim meet, or swimming in general?
Okay, my favorite part is competing. That's kind of why I always come back to it. It's just I love racing. And then the worst part is probably those 5:30 a.m. practices.
Yeah, those are rough.
Right? Yeah.
In between events, is there anything like do you eat in between events, or like something small, or anything?
Yeah,
like that?
I try to drink a lot of water, and I'll have like some snacks here and there. I don't want to eat like too much because I don't like a stomachache before my race, but I try to drink a lot of water, and just keep going through that. Yeah.
Is there casual swimming for you? Like, do you ever just like go in a pool and just like chill like most people do, or like it's always like you always have to like swim?
Oh, that's funny you asked that, because like over the summer, like my friends will always be like, want to go to the pool? I'm like, no. I try and disassociate myself as much as I can from the water when I'm not swimming, but every now and then I like to get in the pool. Lakes are fun. I like lakes.
Next question is, what's your favorite water movie, or a like movie that pertains to water, like Jaws or anything like that?
Oh, probably Finding Nemo.
That's a solid one.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a good one. What's your personal record, like your PR for a thing, or like in your favorite event?
So I swim breaststroke, and I wasn't able to PR this year, but I PR'd in freestyle, so that was nice. Yeah. And then, like what time? Yeah. yeah. Okay, my best is like 100 in the breaststroke, and then 59 on a relay, and then freestyle 49, and then 49 relay.
A lot of people talk about their spirit animals or anything like that. So since we're by the pool here, I was wondering, what would be your aquatic spirit animal?
Ooh, aquatic spirit animal. That's an interesting one.
It is. For me, I think I would be a dolphin, because I think I'm a very happy person. I'm very warming.
I feel like a sea turtle. Sea turtle.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good one. Better than mine. Is there people on the team going nationals?
Yeah, so we have 4 swimmers going to nationals. Kurt Sweeter, who's a senior, Adam Pearson, who's a junior, Will Surf, who's a sophomore, and then Sam McManus is a senior as well. And they're all going on the 8 free relay, and then Sam's going and doing 100 breasts and 200 breasts as well.
And then so looking forward to next season. So what are you personally looking forward to, like trying to get in better shape or for next year? Like, what are you looking forward to?
I definitely think at the end of this year, just from how close it was and like just how crazy it was, I definitely feel like more inspired, and I definitely want to work harder over the summer, for more hours in the pool. And I'm also excited for the new team, because we got like a lot of incoming freshmen, so it'll be kind of cool to see what the team looks like next year.
Yeah, so I think that's basically it. Thank you for joining me here.
Thanks for your time, Victor. Good luck to the swimmers heading to nationals. Taking a look at our indoor stadium, the tennis and track and field team seasons have taken off. The men's tennis team took a 2-1 lead after doubles in their match against Earlham today, and the ladies Tiger take on Illinois State tomorrow. Our track and field team hosted the DePauw Classic last weekend. The men totaled 104 points and won the DePauw Classic over 5 points over Wabash. Nothing sweeter than a win over Wabash. The women, who were led by 2 second-place finishes from Pia Ockverk in the 1,000-meter run and Megan Hennessy in the 5,000 meters, took 7th out of 9 teams that came out for the DePauw Indoor Classic.
DePauw men's lacrosse took on Rose this past weekend. The boys almost erased a 5-goal deficit in the first half. Will Roberts and Steve Jorgensen both had hat tricks for the day, followed by Buck Dorger with 2 points and Donnie Bleifus tallying 1. Even with all the great efforts, the men fell to Rhodes. And on the women's lacrosse team, also had a rocky start, falling to Rockhurst last weekend. Sarah Ramsey and Rachel Allen had the 2 first points of the season. Good luck this weekend as you guys take on Kalamazoo, and the girls head to Calvin.
The baseball team started off the season on a good note, winning both of their scrimmages against Rose this past weekend. Keep up the good work as they approach their season opener March 3rd against Anderson. The softball team had their season opener this past weekend and started the season with 2 wins on their back. Head coach Erica Hanrahan is in the studio with us to give us more information on the girls' season.
We have some very exciting interviews to look forward to, so stay tuned. You will not want to miss it.
I'm Sean Hall. Welcome back to TSN here. This is our segment called Shout to All Them Freshmen. I'm here with freshman phenom Cliare Keefe on the women's basketball team here. So, Claire, how are you doing today?
I'm great. A little sick, but doing good, yeah.
I know, we appreciate you being here with the bronchitis.
Of course.
So, yeah.
Of course.
So my first question for you is, how's the season been going for you guys?
Good. We started October 15th. It's a legendary date. We start the same day every year. We've had one goal, but mostly it's game by game, so one goal each game, and yeah, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, you guys have had a great season so far, only losing once.
Yeah.
So how have you guys been able to win so many games, I guess I should say, it's being blunt?
Yeah, I mean, we have like 4 big values. We have defense, so like in your hands if you gotta talk. We gotta win the free throw game, so don't put them on the line, but then we can put on the line, and we gotta make our free throws. We gotta beat them by like 8, I think, offensive and defensively for rebounding. And we have to do offensive executions like tempo, and everyone knows the offense, and everyone's got to do it, and then you have to obviously finish it. So yeah.
So that what does Coach Huffman preach the most?
Definitely effort. You can't. I mean, everything can change, but like you can't change your effort, you can't change your mindset, and you can't change your attitude. Those are like her 3.
Can you give us your best Coach Huffman impersonation?
Come on.
It's good. It was really good.
Thank you.
So you guys have a lot of young players.
Yeah.
So this on this team. So what has worked best for you guys, and basically what has worked?
So yeah, we have 8 freshmen. We have 2 sophomores. So I mean that's pretty big too. The seniors this year have been huge. There was only 4, but they're like very vocal. They've been very upfront, telling us what to do, because we did have like a mid-season meeting, and we were like, we need you guys to like help us, because yeah, like there's so many of us, but like we don't know what we're doing because we just got here like 3 months ago. And they're like, yeah, we totally get that. So from then on, like they've been huge. I mean, they talk to us off the court, which is really nice, because normally like the gap between ages is really hard. But we came into it like we're all one team. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can be 17, you can be 22, like we don't care. We all have one goal in mind, and that's pretty much to win. So yeah.
Awesome. My next question is, so basically like people talk about the transition and how hard it is coming from high school to college, both academically, but being a student athlete, you have to really focus on both academics and transitioning to basketball, the court, and how the games change. Can you talk about how your transition and how you've been able to adapt to both academics and basketball?
Yeah, so I mean in high school it's obviously like you're the best player on the team. I mean you have one goal, you stay on it for the whole time. Your coach is like, do whatever you want, like it's whatever, and now we come here and everybody's the best player on their team. So you have to learn how to be like a really good teammate. You have to talk to each other. That was huge. Leadership was huge, because last year we also had 4 seniors, and I learned how to step up from then, and then now, because we do need freshman leaders because there are so many of us, so that's been real big. Academically it has been hard, but we all did like study tables together, all the freshmen did in the fall, so that really taught us like study habits. And our coach is really big on like GPA, and we had one of the best GPAs last year on campus sports-wise, I think, for teams, so that was pretty big, and we're trying to like keep it up and keep the GPA going up. So yeah.
Awesome. Next question is, what's your favorite memory so far been this year, like during the basketball season?
We have a GBT pageant. That's our like sororities GBT.
Yeah.
And we have like different rounds, and the seniors are judges, and we like interpret each player, and we have like improv rounds, and that's really big. But I can't really say anything else because it's a secret. So yeah.
So how long have you been playing for?
I started playing in, I think 5th grade. I have a twin, so my twin wanted me to start playing so she could have a friend on the team. And I was playing soccer at the time, and then I quit to play basketball with her, and then I ended up working out. So I give all creds to Kelly Keefe for that one. So yeah.
Did you play other sports in high school?
No, but in middle school I did cross country, and my family's really big on like 5Ks, so we do it like on Thanksgiving and everything. So yeah.
What's your motivation playing, like every day, like waking up, like what's your motivation to get to the court?
Well, my sister had spinal surgery our freshman year of high school, and she cannot play anymore, obviously, and she was huge on it. She was more passionate than I was, and that she quit. She wakes up every day and she's like, Claire, you gotta do it for me. I mean, we got nothing else going on here. Like, we both came here for one reason. Like, she's definitely like part of this team. Like, she comes to practice all the time, and like she's always at every game, and my parents come to every game, so definitely her and my family are like a big motivation every day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So do you have a favorite basketball team or basketball player?
LeBron James.
LeBron James?
Yeah, he's my favorite for sure.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So you a Cavs fan then?
Yeah, oh, of course. Yeah.
What's your favorite basketball movie?
Love and Basketball. It's about 3 hours long. It's on BET.
Yeah.
At least once a week. But
I've seen it. Great movie.
Great movie. Unbelievable.
My next question is, so a big thing, especially in the new 2K game, you get to pick your own shoe company.
Okay.
So I had a question. If you could pick your own shoe company, who would it be and why? If you have your own shoe sponsor. If you could also pick a name for your shoe, that'd be huge, but that's a little too in-depth.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Definitely Nike. My family's big on Nike. If I had my own, I definitely do like CK429s, because that's like my address and my initials. Yeah, that's definitely what I do.
Pretty sick. All right. Next question. Do you have a fun fact that you want to tell the viewers of TSN that not everyone might not know about you?
My favorite color is purple. I love brownies, and I've pretty much read every Harry Potter book 4 times.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How about the movies? You watch all the movies?
No, I don't really like them that much.
You don't? Okay.
No.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Definitely flying, because then you can go anywhere, save some money. Yeah, that's definitely
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So what's your outlook for the rest of the season?
Well, definitely let's go game by game, but we just watched the documentary from the 34-0 team 2-3 days ago, and now I think we're doing it like 8 and counting. I think everyone knows what that means. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the goal.
I'm curious, are you a big baller?
Oh, of course. Everyone is. Yeah. Everyone is.
Oh, I always got to be a big baller.
Yeah, of course.
All right, well, thank you. This has been Cliare Keefe of the women's basketball team. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Don't just point at anything. All right. Welcome back to TSN. I'm John Halloran. I'm here with my guest, DePauw women's softball coach, Coach Hanrahan. So I'm going to ask you little questions here. So I know you guys went to Australia, and so how's your trip? You give a little recap of that.
Australia was amazing. We were so fortunate that it's their summer because they're in the southern hemisphere. Yeah. So it was actually like the peak of their hot season. If you were watching the news, it was like 110 to 117, and we kept hitting 5 different cities and keep missing the heat, missing the rain. So it was beautiful. It was sunny. We got to go to the Great Barrier Reef, Steve Irwin's Australian Zoo. We climbed the Blue Mountains. You name it, we did it. It was an incredible trip.
That's awesome here. So you kind of teased on some of the places you've been to. So there were any other like crazy memorable moments that like really like stuck out to? Oh
yeah, everybody keeps asking like what were your top moments. If you asked everybody, they'd probably say something different. I guess for this show, we went to the quarterfinals of the Australian Open in Melbourne, and we got to see an Aussie play number 3 in the world, and it was a great experience. But while we were there, we had our bus broken down on the one place that was 110 degrees. Our bus broke down on the side of the highway, so we were out there for a few hours, and it seemed like kind of an outback of our own that we created.
Like a sauna, basically.
Yep. So, and we were also really fully acclimated to those Australian bugs that they tell you about. So we saw some of those spiders, and they really were big. So, but it was fun.
Oh man! All right, we'll go to the next question. So coming off a great year last year, what are some of the expectations for this year? You would say?
I actually think our depth is stronger this year. With a year under the belts of the returners, we had a lot of freshmen that played last year. They just have more confidence. They're strong. They're focused. They know what they need to do, and we have an extremely talented freshman class. So I think the mesh of both of them is going to make us would be able to withstand maybe some of the injuries that we had last year.
Yeah.
So hopeful
that also,
for a good
just coming from a football standpoint, like when you have a great freshman class and a great like senior class, like iron sharpens iron. So it's great to have the mesh, like you said.
I like that analogy. I'm going to use it.
Oh, you should. There we go. We're going to learn everything new here at TSN. So obviously going on, how do you think the team looks? Obviously, you said you got a great freshman class. Like anyone like in particular going to be a leader for this year, you would say, or who are you looking to be a leader?
Well, I hope our senior pitcher, Emma Baldwin, is going to have her biggest year yet. That's asking for a lot because she's led us to a World Series and been, first team all conference pitcher and all regions. So, to ask her to have the best year, our hopes are very high. Lauren Godden was an All-American 2 years back, big hitter. She comes up with all the clutch hits. So those two right there, you expect them, but our team's pretty balanced. And I think that's the beauty of our team this year is that in our first weekend, all 20 of our kids played.
Really?
10 in one game, 10 in another, so nobody could scout us. So that was a lot of fun.
That's always good because you always need, honestly, just getting experience. Like that's probably the biggest thing probably going forward. So what is your favorite part about coaching?
The people. The people. Yeah, if you don't have good people, it's not as fun. But if you're going to go places like Australia, or we're going to go to Arizona playing the Leadoff Classic next weekend with the top 35 teams in the country. Yeah, you got to love the people you're with, and they're super dedicated. They're willing to do long hours at flexible times. Our time slot in the ITT is sometimes 8:30 at night till 11:30 at night, and these.
That's rough at that point. That's rough.
It's the people.
Yeah. So, can you give us like a little recap of this past weekend that we?
So we went down. We were supposed to play 4 games, but we got to play 2. One against the host Maryville, which was our second game, and we started off against John Carroll from Cleveland.
Okay.
We won that first game 6-1, and we just were pretty strong from the start. Pitching was good, hitting was fluid, the base running was great. So that was it was a pretty good start. They felt confident coming off of Australia. And then in the second game, a new 10 players played, and we won that game 13-4, but we were down 4-0 going into the 5th inning. So all those runs came late, so it was a huge comeback win.
That's always good to have, too, on your belt early in the year.
Yeah, it was
just to know how to come back when you're down, maybe not have everyone, the morale is not high enough, but just so we come back out on top. So going ahead with the last question. So is there anything else you want to say to us at TSN that we already don't know about the team? Any fun facts or?
Yeah, sure. Well, we have the animal kingdom, and so like if you ever come out to a softball game, you'll see them flashing signs, and when somebody does something good, and you might be like, "What is that?" And they're flashing the animal sign, and there's like, it's a special induction process. And Dr. Babington was our professor for the Australia trip. He even has an animal. Mine's the peacock. When I'm happy, it's the happy peacock. When I'm mad, it's the mad peacock. But it's a fun thing to watch. So now you know a little bit of the inside of the softball team.
Wow, we all do at TSN. Yeah. Well, thank you, Coach Hanrahan, for coming on with us. Unfortunately, we are out of time. So thank you so much for that, and good luck this season.
Thanks so much. Truly. Thank you.
So, everyone here at TSN, thank you for tuning in. To see us all. Hopefully, see us all next week. This is John Halloran at TSN. See you guys later.